As the great majority of you probably know, there was recently a massive controversy within the FNAF fangame community. A group of very influential fangame developers were caught gathering leaks from other fangames with the intention to eventually release them to the public. There was a lot of other bad stuff too, but if you want details, I'd suggest you watch this video from Theft King. One of the people that was involved in the scandal was Ultraknight, the creator of Chompers and Chomping with Chomper. He was the ringleader in a way and was caught doing all sorts of problematic things. Due to the drama, Chompers and all future updates to Chomping with Chomper were officially cancelled. What I want to do with this video is go over some of the content that's been released since the game's cancellation to show some respect to the innocent people that worked on this project. I wasn't sure if I should, but after talking to some people, I think it'd actually be a good idea. The controversial figure was technically the head of the ship, but there are so many people that worked on this, and it sucks to think that their efforts are going to be wasted because of the actions of a single person. Ultraknight was the director, and according to my inside source, Ping, his main role was laying the foundation of the concept of Chompers. He wrote the story and came up with the cast. But Ping told me that they actually helped with the story, and I'm sure other people did too. And so many people did the programming, modeling, pixel art, drawings, etc, etc. Ping told me around 16 people worked on Chompers, but at its height it was a very large team. I assume they meant that 16 people were working on it when it got cancelled, but more people than that have worked on it over time. The GameJolt page for the pitch demo actually credits a total of 23 people. My point here is Ultraknight's role was significant, but loads of people put blood, sweat, and tears into this, and that work will now never appear in a finished product. I'd like to show some respect and appreciation to these people. In the description, I'm going to link the Twitter accounts of a bunch of people on the Chompers team. Go show them some love and support. I'd also like to thank StupidButterfly, or L, for compiling a lot of the content that's going to be in this video, and I'd like to thank Ping, once again, for providing me with some of the information in this video and helping with the facts. Keep in mind that there's a lot more to see than what I'm going to show in this video, so if you want to see more, I once again encourage you to go to the links in the description. If there's someone on the Chompers team that released their work that isn't in this video, I either didn't see it, couldn't fit in the video, or you put it out too long after this video started being made. I am sorry to anyone I missed or left out. So let's talk about some of the content that has been released. I'll start by talking about the Fanverse pitch demo, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it because there isn't that much to show. The demo was released by YuRo, who was one of the lead programmers of Chompers, so they will be linked in the description. The Chompers demo starts with an opening cutscene, which looks really nice. The animation of the toy on the ground is smooth, and the model for Afton is actually fantastic. It looks pretty realistic in comparison to other interpretations of Afton, and that makes it really unsettling. The demo takes place in a warehouse in the Chompers location. There you will find Afton, who doesn't actually do anything in this build of the game, but I assume he would become active eventually or something like that. You go to a power box and turn the power back on, and the rest of it consists of finding notes and reading them. I could go over every single note, but that wouldn't really make the most interesting video. Each note details an element of the game that was planned. It's interesting and worth checking out, but I'd rather spend most of the time looking at assets and footage. These notes display some good ideas, and this demo is a solid piece of work, but it's obviously very unfinished, so there's not too much to say. Now we're going to be looking at some work from Ewato. I'm really sorry if I butchered that name. The first one is of a big sign for the Chompers location that says Grand Opening. I'm not sure where this was going to be used, or if this is just very detailed concept art for something bigger, but I think this is a good one to start with because, for whatever reason, it makes me think of the potential of Chompers. It's the face of the show and the brand of the location that the game was going to take place in. It's cool, but kind of sad to see in a way. Next up is a few pieces of concept art for areas in the location. The first one is for a playroom seemingly called Swampy Time. The second is for a parts and service room. And lastly, there's artwork for the main stage, I think. I think everything here shows a clear attempt at fleshing out the location. The main stage looks really nice, and it fits the cast pretty well. Next is a drawing called The Final Fight, which looks absolutely fantastic. I safely assume that this is concept art for a final boss of the game. When I look at this, it's so easy for me to imagine a dramatic, badass ending for the game. I think this looks amazing. Next is a concept model of the map. There's not a lot to see with just this concept art, but again, it's really cool to see what could have been. This person clearly had to put a lot of thought into this because they had to think about how it would actually appear in the game. This might not seem like much, and maybe it does come easier for some people, but crafting a large location effectively is not as easy as it may look. So that's all we're going to look at from Ewato. Again, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that horrendously. Once again, this wasn't everything they did, so check them out using the link in the description. Moving on, we're going to be looking at the work done by Bonzee. I've actually spoken to them a bit, and they seem really cool. Talking to the people that were affected by this makes it even more sad, but let's take a look at their amazing work. First, we have a teaser they made featuring the character Blue. They also provided some behind the scenes of the process. I'm not an expert in modeling or anything, but I think this looks great, and succeeded at making me excited to see more of the game, which is what a teaser should do. Next, we have some environments that were textured by Bonzee, but actually modeled by Mezzari, whose Twitter will also be linked in the description. These ones feature a couple hallways, and they look pretty well crafted. Again, I'm no expert, but the setting looks pretty real, and I think this game looked fantastic stylistically. There's also one for, I believe, the main stage. Just so you know, the Chomper's logo was designed by Jayfer, so check them out as well. Once again, this picture just makes me wish I could have seen more. I would have loved to explore these areas, or to get to see them on cameras, or anything, honestly. That's all I'm going to show from Bonzee. Please make sure you go give them, as well as Mezzari and Jayfer, a follow. Bonzee also has their own game in development called NIGHTSTARS, so be sure to give that a follow on GameJolt. Next, we're going to be looking at a couple videos provided by Hackboi, who was mainly a programmer for Chomping with Chomper, but also programmed a build of Chompers, as we'll see. The first one was meant to be a boss fight featuring Golden Freddy in version 2 of Chomping with Chomper. I talked to Hackboi directly to get a better understanding of who did what. TheDanieru, hopefully I said that right, did the sprites for the Golden Freddy boss fight, and Hackboi programmed it. So, TheDanieru will be linked in the description as well. I absolutely adore this. I love this style of art. I just find it so appealing, and whenever someone makes a FNAF game in a similar style, I really like it. And as you know, I'm a fan of the classic point-and-click FNAF gameplay, so it would have been really cool to see that in a Chompers game. Not a lot of the gameplay is shown, but I'm sure it would have been smooth given the quality of all the work we've seen. The other video from Hackboi is of the first build of Chompers from October of last year that was programmed by both Hackboi and YuRo. It appears that during the office gameplay of Chompers, you would be able to look around the room. Ironically, it kind of reminds me of Pop Goes. This has been done before, but that doesn't mean it couldn't have been really cool. There's not much to see from this video alone, but it's still cool to see the pieces left behind from what would have been Chompers. Make sure you check out Hackboi and show them some support. They also have their own game in development called Hack's Custom Night, so you can follow that on GameJolt if you'd like. Next up, we're going to check out work done by Duggy, who was an animator for Chompers. Here we have a render for what I assume is a boss fight. The character present is apparently named Kevin, which is a boring-ass name for this beast, but whatever, I'll take it. This looks absurdly fantastic. This is one of those ones where it makes me angry that this was all for nothing, all because of a single person. The grotesque and frightening appearance of the character is great, and this image alone just makes me think this would have been a great sequence. There's another render with this character, and it seems to feature the enemy and the main character, I assume, falling from high up. We obviously don't and won't know the context of this, but it just looks so damn good, and I wish I could have seen more of this. Next is a couple renders for a storyboard that Duggy made with CocosB_SFM, who we will actually be talking about soon. This was apparently for the playground chase, which you can probably imagine based on the name. The first one features Chomper looking through, I assume, a part of the playground. It doesn't necessarily look scary, but it looks like it would have been a really cool scene. The other render for the playground chase is of Chomper in the play structure. This does kind of remind me of the daycare sequence from Security Breach, but I assume the objective would be quite different. This isn't the most detailed picture, but it is meant to be a storyboard, and it still makes me wish I could play this sequence. The last thing I'm going to show from Duggy is a sad one that wasn't actually for the game itself. It's an unfinished poster of all the Fanverse games, along with Chomper. Again, this just kind of hurts in a way. At one point there was hope for Chompers being in the Fanverse, and now the game is fully cancelled. Make sure you check out Duggy because their work was absolutely incredible. Now we're going to take a look at some renders made by CocosB_SFM. The first one shows the main character hiding from Honey the Bee. Although this also gives me a bit of Security Breach vibes because of the gameplay. This looks absolutely amazing. If this was a sequence, it looks like it could have actually been pretty scary, because the problem with Security Breach is everything is bright and colorful and goofy. This is legitimately eerie. This just looks sick. I love it. Not much else to say about it, but I love it. Next is a render of Afton. That's an assumption, but it's a pretty safe bet. This one is legitimately unsettling. You can barely see the details of Afton under the shadows, but you can see his figure and that he's staring directly at you. The background gives me the classic FNAF feeling, and I love that. This one is just dark and gritty, which I'm a huge fan of. Next, we have a render of Chomper standing over someone laying on the ground. I just wish I could see where this would have taken place. This is one of those ones where you're itching to see what happens next. I don't know if this would have been gameplay or a cutscene, but I just look at this and I want to know what's going to happen to this person. This is a great shot and everything looks really sharp. That's all I'm going to show from CocosB_SFM, but they did also post a few smaller animations and stuff like that, so click their link in the description to see more. Now we're going to take a look at a few pieces done by the 64th Gamer, who was a lighting artist and modeler. The first one is a model of a costume mascot named Chomper. I'm really impressed by the quality of this model. The hairs on the head look fairly realistic, and the textures on the clothing are really nice. Even the face looks like very real plastic. It has just the right amount of gloss, and the eyes look like the eyes of an actual costume, like how you can kind of see out of them. I just really appreciate the detail of this design. Next is an environment from the Chomper's location. I'm not entirely sure where this would have been within the location. It's a bit hard to tell, but it is very high quality. The shine on the floor is perfect, the Chomper sign looks nice, and I gotta appreciate the Pac-Mans on the wall. I'm pretty sure those are lily pads, but I'm gonna say they're Pac-Man. The 64th Gamer does a lot of cool work in 3D modeling, so give them a follow with a link down below. Next up, we got a model created by Dante. This is a 3D model for the character Old Man Consequences. I'm a big fan of this because Old Man Consequences is such an iconic and mysterious character, so a full model of them is pretty cool. Dante said that they never had the chance to rig the model, but what he did was solid, and I would have loved to see it appear in the game. Once again, make sure you follow Dante and show him some love using the link down below. And last but very much not least, we're going to be looking at a couple models made by Mr. Nobo. I forgot to mention this, Mr. Nobo also made the Afton model that was in the Fanverse pitch, which is absolutely amazing, so you know what we're about to look at is pretty damn good. Here we have a model of the one and only Chomper. This motherfucker looks fantastic. I've seen a lot of fan-made models in my day, and there are an insane amount of good ones, but I see this and just see endless potential. The design is just so clean, and the model looks perfect. The model also has an endoskeleton, which looks just as high quality. I could gush over this model forever, but there's not much of a point in that. I just love how high quality this model is, and I think the design is so good for a FNAF fan game. Mr. Nobo will be linked in the description. They work on other FNAF fan games as well. Go check them out. That's everything for this video. Once again, there's more to see, so click the links in the description and search for more people's work if you can. It's so sad to see how much went into this game that will never be released, but I want everyone that worked on Chompers to know that we're with you through this time, and we love and respect the work you've done. That's going to be all from me. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you had a good time. Please hit like and subscribe to show some support. It means a lot. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at I'mTheBaddest, or click the links in the description. Thank you so much for watching once again. I'll see you guys next time.